Hi, in this video I'll go through this problem from your homework. Someone emailed me about it, so I'll go through it. The problem says, consider the statement, the interest rate on auto loans has increased 50% over the past decade and now stands at 24%. What can you conclude? There are 6 choices, and they're all about what the interest rate was a decade ago. The last two choices say you can't conclude because something something. We'll deal with them. Now, this is a multiple choice question, and for multiple choice questions, there's always the option of working backward from the answer choices, but I'm not going to do that. I'll actually solve the problem. I need space to work, so I made a copy of the question down here without the answer choices. The interest rate on auto loans has increased 50% and now stands at 24%. So there's some sort of interest rate a long time ago, and I add on 50%, and now it's 24%. In my head, I'm actually thinking there's some interest rate that I don't know, so I think of it like a big box that's unknown, and I add 50% of it, and now I have 24%. Well, 50% is half, so that means I will add on half of the big box to get 24%. Well, I added on a half, and originally there were two halves for a total of 24% now. That looks like there were two halves here plus one half totals 24%. Three halves is 24%, so each half is 8%, and the whole must be 16%. So this thing here is 16% plus half of it, which is 8%, and yes, that is equal to 24%. Well, that's cool. Doing math without a lot of algebra. And it happens to work in this case because 50% is a nice round percentage that's equal to half, and that allowed me to imagine this 1/2 piece here. That's nice, but it won't work if the problem has some other percent. So let me erase the whole thing and do it again the algebra way. So here there's an interest rate we don't know. Let's call it x. Let x be the interest rate a decade ago. I start with x and I add on 50%. 50% of what? 50% of the old interest rate, so 50% of x. The sum equals 24%. This 24% is not of x. It's 24% of whatever money you borrow. Whatever money you borrow, they charge you 24% of that amount, so it's unrelated to the x. So I don't put 24% of x, just 24%. Okay, now I'm ready to do algebra. 50% is 0.50 of means multiply, so this term is 0.50x. So x plus 0.50x equals 0.24. 1.50x equals 0.24. X equals 0.24 divided by 1.50, and that is 0.16, which is 16%. So the algebra method is a lot longer than imagining the box in my head, but it applies to any percent, not just 50%. Alright, now I know the answer is 60%. Let's take a look at the choices. I know I was able to conclude that the interest rate used to be 60%, so the two answer choices that say you can't conclude, those are wrong. The choices that say 26% are wrong. Now I'm down to choices B and D. Choice B says the interest rate a decade ago was 16% because 50% of 16 is 8. Okay, that's true. 8 times 50 equals 400. Well, that's a true statement, but I don't know what that has to do with anything. All right, 24 divided by 150 equals 0.16 or 16%. All right, that's also a true statement, but again, how that relates to the other two statements they made, I don't know. This is the kind of math that someone may write down if they feel like the answer should be 16%, but they have a hard time explaining why. So they just write down a bunch of calculations that don't have anything to do with anything. Well, that unfortunately means that the person may know math, but they can't communicate it. And that's sad because in a professional setting, if you know your work, but you can't communicate it, someone else is going to get the promotion and not you. I'll put some question marks here because I don't know what these things are saying. Now let's look at D. It says the interest rate a decade ago was 16%. Okay, that's good. Because 50% of 16 is 8, that's correct. And 16 plus 8 is 24. Yes. You have 16%, you add 50% of 16, which is 8%, and you get 24%, which is the number given in the question stem. So D is the correct answer. Choice B, I don't know what this part 8 times 50 equals 400. I don't know what it's doing there. So the answer is D, not gonna be B. Now let's see why this question was hard. It has to do with this 50% and this 24%. The 50% is in this sentence. The interest rate on auto loans has increased 50%. So it says you start with some interest rate and you add 50% of it and you end up with something. So this 50% is tied in with that interest rate. But the result 24% is not tied with the previous interest rate. It's just a new interest rate and it goes with whatever loan money is. So in math, we say the 50% and the 24% have different bases. You can think of it as they're different animals. They're apples and oranges. Here's the apple, the old interest rate. And here's the orange. The 24% goes with this orange. At the end of the day, what happens is they're percents of different things. So this enter choice A right here, that's wrong. These are apples and oranges, and you cannot add and subtract them. All right. Hope this helps. Bye.